भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Today we will be discussing chapter 9 of the 4th canto. But before that, let's have a quick overview of the chapter 8. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are doing the story of Dhruva Maharaj. Every Thursday we review, we discuss one chapter from Srimad Bhagavatam. So last week we did chapter 8. And this week we'll be doing chapter 9. But for the benefit of everyone here on Zoom as well, I will summarize the previous chapter very, very quickly so that everyone can get the benefits. Kamal Prabhu, Kamal Ronya and Prabhu, thank you very much. Nice to see you. We missed you for a long time. Very good to have you here. Okay, so let me do this. Not getting the chance. Okay. Okay, so we've been discussing the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So Swayambhu Manu is the son of Lord Brahma. He had 3 daughters and 2 wives. 3 daughters, they were named Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And the 2 sons are Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So in the 3rd canto, we had discussed the dynasty or lineage of Devahuti and also Prasuti and Akuti to a degree. So in the 4th canto, in these chapters, we are discussing the lineage of Uttanapada, one of the sons of Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu had 2 sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. Uttanapada, he had 2 wives, namely Suniti and Suruchi. So Suruchi is the younger and Suniti is the eldest. They both had 1 son. Suniti's son was Dhruva and Suruchi's son was Uttama. So, however, King Uttanapada used to show favoritism to his younger queen, pet queen. So he was treating the elder wife, as a menial servant. He used to love Suruchi only. So one day, little Dhruva, son of Suniti, wanted to sit on the lap of his father, Uttanapada, while he was seated on the throne. Yes, that time his stepbrother, Uttama, was sitting. However, the king, father, did not welcome Dhruva. The reason being, he was afraid of Suruchi. Suruchi used to dominate that everything is mine and my son, everything belongs to my property. It's mine. You are mine. You are under my control. So, although Uttanapada was equal in affection, equally loving both sons, he could not welcome Dhruva because he was afraid of Suruchi. And then Suruchi came and chastised Dhruva. Come on, how dare you go and you try to sit on the lap of your father while my son was sitting on the other lap. If you really want to sit on the lap of your father, you must take birth from my womb. For that, you need to go to the forest, you need to worship Lord Vishnu, and then die, give up this body, then enter into my womb, then you have some eligibility to sit on the lap of your father. So you were chastised like this. Is this the way we chastise kids? So these words were piercing Dhruva like anything. It was like, for any child, it was terrible. And even for a Kshatriya, they're very, revenge, they always are in revengeful attitude. They take these words very seriously. So he went to his mother, Suniti, and Suniti already heard that this had happened to his son. So Suniti, and she said, what would you say if you were in the position of Suniti? What would you say? You would pick up a fight with Suruchi. Actually, the entire story of in Dhruvamara's story, the real hero is Suniti. If you read, she just turned the challenge into opportunity. She said, don't wish ill fortune to others. If they suffer, if they treat you badly, they will suffer of their own reaction. But never wish ill for others. First thing. Second thing she said right. Your stepmother, what she said was right. She said that you should go and worship the Supreme Lord. Because I'm only one mother, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who can be equivalent. He's like, millions of mothers. He can give you the love of millions of mothers. I'm a single mother. So that's right. What she said was right. And thirdly, she said that it's because of our past karma sometimes these things come. So don't be aggrieved. My child, please do go and worship the Lord. So she turned the challenge into opportunity. This is the way the parenting should be. What kind of things we teach. So many things we can talk, but we don't have much time. Let's go. So he decided to leave. Yes, when you are ready to worship the Supreme Lord, if you don't know, you only have to desire. That's it. Lord will send his representative. Nobody told Narad. Narad came automatically. Nobody told him that little Dhruva, he was only 5-year-old. Yes, Narad came and he said that, come on, you're only 5 year. Sometimes, these things happen at home. We should neither be, overjoyous if someone praises, and if someone criticizes us, we should not be too annoyed. We should be equal. Come on, you go home now. You're only 5-year-old boy. Enjoy. This is the time to play with the toys and with your friends. Go and enjoy. And then when you grow, you can worship the Supreme Lord. And it is not possible to, get the benefit of worshiping Supreme Lord, because it's not that easy. Many devotees in the past, they have taken lifetimes. Many lives they worshipped, and even then they worshipped, they did not achieve any benefit. Come on, you're only a little boy. So he said, my dear Narada, what you're telling is right, but I'm a Kshatriya. This philosophy doesn't work for me. I'm in a revengeful mood. Please, if you have something, tell me. I want to have a kingdom which is greater than that of my great-grandfather. Who was Dhruva's great-grandfather? Brahma. So Brahma's kingdom is this entire universe. So Dhruva wanted kingdom which is greater than that of Brahma. And I want to take revenge against Suruchi. Or I wanted to have that throne. So he saw determination. The motivation is not right, but he saw the determination. He said, no problem. And he instructed the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Narad asked him to go to Madhuvan, one of the 12 forests in Vrindavan. And he gave some guidance, just like we get some 4 regulative principles. We get the daily schedule, isn't it? Get up early, worship, read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, take association of devotees, chant Hare Krishna mantra, like that. So he was given full instructions. So, and then Dhruva Maharaj went to Madhuvan. And exactly he did what he was told to do so. So this is another instruction for us. If we follow the instructions of spiritual master clearly as they instruct, if we obey them, then we will get the benefit. So Dhruva Maharaj completely obeyed. He went to Madhuvan on the bank of river Yamuna. He took bath there. And then, he prepared GT. In those days, they didn't have a picture in the forest. They didn't have a proper murti there. So he prepared the deity form of Lord Vishnu. And so he was worshipping the Lord. So, and what did he do? So in the first month, he only took fruits and berries every 3rd day, in the first month. In the second month, he only drank water once in 9 days. In the 3rd month, he was only, first month, fruits and berries, once in 3 days. Second month, dry grass and dry leaves, once in 6 days. 3rd month, drinking water once in 9 days. 4th month, breathing air once in 12 days. That means that's it. You can't breathe another next 12 days. That's it. You had enough for today. Once in 12 days, he was breathing. By the 5th month, he became a master of mystic yoga. He was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is called Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Bhakti mixed with intense yoga. So he was doing everything. And by the 6th month, what happened was his weight, his weight was equal to, he became Lord Vishnu, like the weight of Lord Vishnu. He was so heavy. Yes. So that Mother Earth was pushing down. With his toe, he was pushing down Mother Earth. Because he was not breathing anything, just focusing on the Lord within the heart. So demigods, they got completely perturbed. They went to Lord Vishnu. What's happening? We are getting suffocated. Please kindly help us. And then Lord Vishnu told, come on, don't worry. This is my little Dhruva, who is doing devotional service, intense devotion. I will go and see him in Madhuvan. So it is said that this is current Madhuvan. There are quite tall trees there. And our acharyas tell us, you see, they're bending. So they're bending. They're offering obeisances to Lord Vishnu and his devotees, Dhruva. So, and that's what happened in the first chapter. So now we'll go on to the second chapter. Okay, Hare Krishna. I hope everyone is there on Zoom. I can't see you. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone is there. Okay, let's see. Okay, Anupama Radhika Mataji, you can read the first 5 verses.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Text 1. Dhruva Maharaj returns home. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they were freed from all fears, and after offering their obeisances, they returned to their heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is non-different from the Sahasa Risarisa incarnation, got on the back of Garuda who carried him to the Madhuvana forest to see his servant Dhruva. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruva Maharaj, in his mature yogic process, was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus, Dhruva was perturbed, and his meditation broke. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally present, just as he had been seeing the Lord in his heart. When Dhruva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of Godhead. Dhruva Maharaj, in ecstasy, looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. Although Dhruva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruva Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. At that time, Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet, would never be annihilated, even during this time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So, in the first section, we see that the Lord goes to the planet, the place where Dhruva Maharaj is worshipping. The place is known as Madhuvan. He went on riding Garuda. So there is a picture there. When the Lord went there, his meditation broke. His meditation was never broken in before, but all of a sudden he realized his meditation got broke and he opened his eyes. So he could see the form of the Lord in front of him, the same form that he had seen within his heart for all these days. Immediately, he fell down like a rod. You can see that. And he got like ecstatic symptoms. He was literally drinking just by looking at the form of the Lord. He was drinking the Lord with his eyes and kissing. This is in the mind, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord and embracing the Lord with his arms in the mind. And he wanted to offer some prayers to the Lord. But however, he was only 5-year-old. He was inexperienced in offering prayers. So seeing the awkward position, so what did the Lord do? He just, touched Dhruva's forehead with his conch shell. And everything was automatically, he just got everything realized within his heart. So this is an important, very important point for us. Prabhupada says that, so when he is writing, when he's speaking, that these are the words of the Lord. These are not my words. Because as Lord is directing me, I am writing. As Lord is directing me, I'm speaking. So the words that I speak, the books that I've written is actually coming from the Lord. So Dadhami Buddhi Yogam, Tam Yena Mamupayantite, in the 10th chapter of Gita, Krishna says that you desire, only we have to desire. And then Lord will, do the rest of the things. So we got all the Vedic knowledge. He was only 5-year-old. So with devotion, so much knowledge we can get. So in our movement also, if you see, many devotees, many exalted personalities, they didn't go to good schools, they didn't have good education, yet they're very good philosophically, they became so good. So with devotion, automatically we become intelligent. So we should have full faith on this. So, and he started offering prayers, and I will read a couple of prayers. We won't read the English there, so we'll just read the couple of prayers. So, first one. Yonta pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjeevayatya kila shakti dhara swadhama anyam cha hasta sharana shravana tvagadin pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. The Lord enlivens the senses of his devotees with his internal energy. That same energy as external energy engages others in material activities of sense enjoyment, and their senses become material senses. Thus, things are manifested differently to different people based on their desires. So, Dhruva Maharaj's first prayer was that because you entered into my heart, that's why I'm able to speak some words. I have the desire, but the abilities, you have given the ability. So I'm speaking these words. The ability is coming from Krishna, Paurusham Nurushu. So all these senses in the past, they were doing activities, but they were doing the material activities. Now I'm using, because you have entered into me, I'm engaging these into your service. This is devotion. And some people, like, electricity. So Krishna's energy, just like electricity, with electricity, you can get heat or cold, isn't it? Similarly, Lord's energy, someone can completely go away from the Lord, using the Lord's energy, external energy. Or if one uses nicely, then they can also come towards the Lord. And then he says, you are the only one shelter. And then he says, some people, they motivated, they have got a motivated worship. They have some material desires. They worship you for the material desires, which are available even in the hell. You are like a desired tree. When they come to you, why should they ask for only such small material desires? And you can offer any benediction. So my Lord, I am like that. Unfortunately, I am also a fool. I had material desire, and so unfortunately I had that. And then he says that your bhakti, the bliss derived from worshipping you is much greater. Let me read that out again. Bliss derived from meditation on your lotus feet and hearing your glories from pure devotees is far beyond Brahmananda. Then what to speak of heavenly happiness, which is ended by the sword of time. So Dhruva Maharaj is next saying that the happiness derived through the devotional service and by hearing the Lord's pastime is much, much greater than the happiness one experiences through the Brahman realization. What to speak of just these heavenly planets? So Lord, that's why I wanted to take the association of your devotees. Always I wanted to seek the association of your devotees. And in the association, one can develop detachment to these material things. So this is what he says. And But there are other things also, but these are some of the important points that Dhruva Maharaj offers in his prayers. These are very wonderful, and if you can, go and read the purports, you will get so much benefit. So now we'll move on to the next section. Text 18 to 26. Padma Mataji, would you like to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So let me bring up. So this is like an overview. So we go a little quicker in these chapters. Can you see?
Text 17?
18 onwards, please.
18 onwards. Okay, Prabhuji. Text 18. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaja, who had good intentions in his heart, finished his prayer, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees and servants, congratulated him, speaking as follows. Text 19. The personality of Godhead said, My dear Dhruva, son of the king, you have executed pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. Text 20 to 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the pole star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar systems, planets, and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls tread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains. Keeping the pole star to their right, all the stars inhabited by the great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Sukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all others. Text 22. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years, and all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old. Text 23. The Lord continues, Sometimes in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by the forest fire. Text 24. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. Text 25. The personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis, and having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. Text 26. The great sage Maitreya said, After being worshipped and honored by the boy Dhruva Maharaj, and after offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu on the back of Garuda returns to his abode as Dhruva Maharaj looked on.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So in this section, after Dhruva Maharaj offering prayers, Lord Vishnu then spoke to Dhruva. And Dhruva did not ask anything. So he just stood. He was just looking at the form of the Lord, still drinking with his eyes, drinking the form of the Lord with his eyes. So he just kept quiet. little Dhruva. And what was the motivation of Dhruva? So what was the motivation? He wanted a greater kingdom than that of Lord Brahma. So he immediately said, Lord said, I'll give you my own planet. Dhruva planet, the pole star, is in the middle of the universe. And all great planetary system, the seven sages, Saptarushi Mandal, or seven sages, they have their own planets. So they circumambulate this Dhruva planet. Just like when the Lord is there or Tulasi is there, you circumambulate. You keep Tulasi to your right, and then you circumambulate. So they worship all other planets, and the beings of other planets, they worship this planet because this is where Lord Vishnu resides within the universe. Outside the universe, we know the spiritual world. Lord has his Vaikuntha planet, and again, then you have other planet, other spiritual worlds as well, like Mathura, Ayodhya, Dwaraka, and then Goloka Vrindavan. But within this universe, Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, he resides on pole star. This was never ruled by any living entity before. So because you wanted a kingdom greater than that of your great-grandfather, I will award this planet to you. No one ruled this before. And even everything is destroyed, this planet will not be destroyed because it's Lord Vishnu resides. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, he had also a little bit of revengeful attitude towards his stepmother, Suruchi. Now nothing was there. Like when you become a devotee, you forgive everyone. Transformation. You never want to take any revenge. You know the story of Haridas Thakur? He was beaten. How many marketplaces? Yes. And then what did Lord Chaitanya said? Actually, I was waiting there with my Sudarshan Chakra. I wanted to punish these guys. But what was Haridas praying? My Lord, these are fools. They don't know what they're doing. They're ignorant. Please don't punish them. So devotee becomes more tolerant. Tolerance is a sign of advancement. If we are looking at a devotee, this is what we should see. How patient that guy is, how tolerant that guy is. Yes. So, but in the beginning he had, before he started worshipping the Lord, he had that intention. Then Lord said, after some time, your brother, Uttama, but he didn't have any ill intentions towards Uttama. So he said, the Lord said, Uttama will go on an excursion hunting. And then he will be killed by some yakshas. And knowing this, your stepmother, Suruchi, she will go to the forest to find out him, and she will be burnt in the forest fire. Prabhupada writes, we don't have time to read the purport. Generally, normally in my class, usually we read the purport as well. Prabhupada writes a huge purport for that. So maybe we should read. We have 20 minutes. Let's see if I can find that verse. Text 20, please. A beautiful purport. Padma Mataji, can you read the purport as well, please? Are you there? Okay.
Hello. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes. Purport. Dhruva Maharaja came to the forest to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a revenging spirit against his stepmother. His stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who was not an ordinary person, but a great Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is the greatest offense in this world. Because of having insulted Dhruva Maharaja, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son and would enter a forest fire, and thus her life would be ended. This was specifically mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. From this, we should take the lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnava. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnava, but we should not insult anyone unnecessarily. When Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaja, he was just a child. She, of course, did not know what Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnava, and so her offenses was committed unknowingly. When one serves a Vaishnava unknowingly, one still gets a good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers a bad result. A Vaishnava is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pleasing him or displeasing him directly affects the pleasure and displeasure of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, in his 8th stanza of prayers to the spiritual master, has sung, Yashya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasada. By pleasing the spiritual master, who is a pure Vaishnava, one pleases the personality of Godhead. But if one displeases the spiritual master, one does not know where he's going.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, who are yakshas? I think it's Manjula Mataji asking. Yakshas are the associates of Lord Kuvera. They reside in Uttarabardhi, northern Himalayas, not our Himalayas. There is another Himalayas, so that's where they live. So from the purport, it's a beautiful purport. When Suruchi insulted, offended Dhruva, that time he was not a devotee. He was not a devotee. But later he became a great devotee. And it still had effect. Yes. Dhruva didn't want revenge now. He had he had some revengeful attitude. Naturally, someone insults you, naturally you become angry at that person. Just say, he did not want his stepmother to die or stepbrother to die. Just had some pain in the heart. That's it. That is the only thing he had. But later he became a devotee. But they will be delivered as well. Yes. So why they will be delivered? Because they are connected to Dhruva Maharaj. It's a pastime, it shows two effects. So it is telling that if one commits an offense at the feet of Vaishnava, yeah, say, for example, in this case, we should not also commit offense at neophyte Vaishnava, because if later they become great devotees, then again that will have impact on us. So that's why we should, even Prabhupada says, no offense. We should not offend anyone, knowingly or unknowingly. It has some effect. So because they are connected, later they became good. They were very loving towards Dhruva later. When we will see that after Dhruva Maharaj, when Lord Vishnu leaves from Madhuvan, then he returned home. They were okay. They were all okay, because he became a great devotee. Then they were loving towards Dhruva, but yet they had to go through this. And the Acharyas tell us that because they were connected to Dhruva, they definitely achieved a very higher destination. And this was in Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. We hardly live 100 years in these days. Yes. And so Dhruva Maharaj and Lord also said, you would enter through. Yes, you would become the king and rule the kingdom for how long? 36,000 years. So he had the desire to sit in the throne. Yes, sit on the throne. You remember? So he said, Lord also said that. Okay, let's move on. Then the next section, let's see how big is the section from the. So at the end, possibly, yeah, because this is a slightly different flow. Okay, yeah, we'll read the next section from 27 till 36. Who would like to read? Please raise your hand. I can.
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure. 27 till 36.
Thank you.
27.
Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Text 28. Sri Vidura inquired, "My dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotional service, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Dhruva Maharaj achieved this position even in one life, and he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased?" Text 29. Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved. And thus, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world. But at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. Text 30. Dhruva Maharaj thought to himself, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, who practiced Ashtanga Yoga in trance, attained the shelter of the lotus feet, of the Lord's lotus feet, only after many, many births. Within 6 months, I achieved the same result, yet due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position. Text 31. Alas, just look at me. I am so unfortunate. I have approached the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death, but still out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable. Text 32. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada. Text 33. Dhruva Maharaj lamented, I was under the influence of the illusory energy, being ignorant of the actual facts. I was sleeping on her lap. Under a vision of duality, I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely I lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies. Text 34. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in my case, although I have satisfied the Supersoul of the whole universe, I have prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like treatment given to a person who is already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am. For in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death,
Yes, yeah.
I have prayed for the same conditions again. Text 35. Because of my state of complete...
Did I? Because it was just moving on. A second.
Because of my state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, although the Lord offered me his personal service, I wanted material fame, name, and prosperity. My case is just like that of the poor man who, when he satisfied a great emperor who wanted to give him anything he might ask, out of ignorance asked only for a few broken grains of husked rice. Text 36.
Okay.
Great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, persons like you who are pure devotees of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can offer liberation, and who are always attached to the honey of his lotus feet, are always satisfied in serving at the lotus feet of the Lord. In any condition of life, such persons remain satisfied and thus they never ask the Lord for material prosperity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Meena Mataji. Okay, so Lord went back to his abode riding Garuda. So Dhruva Maharaj now regretting. So Maitreya, this was a conversation between two great souls, Maitreya and Vidura. When we come together, what do we talk about? Normal people. Liz Trust has resigned today, or some politics, or something else, or there is a sale there, something. But great souls, they only talk about the Lord. So this was a long discussion between Maitreya and Vidura. It started in the 3rd canto. It goes until 5th canto nearly. Long discussion. And they are not getting bored. They were not having any meals also. No prasadam. This was like a drinking nectar. Parikshit Maharaj drank nectar 7 days and 7 nights. And he could fast. Hopefully Kavita Mata give us some prasadam, don't worry. So see, this is the benefit, like this is the effect of devotion. So initially had that material motivation. And material motivation, number one, was he wanted a kingdom greater than that of his great-grandfather, and he wanted to take revenge against his stepmother, Suruchi. But he regrets now very much. This is what happened when we do devotion. This is the benefit. And as we progress in our own devotion, we should see what's happening to ourselves. Or our material desires are going down, or are they increasing? This is what we need to check. And he was telling, like, I actually came for a broken pieces of glasses, but I got the jewel. I could see the form of the Lord. This material wealth is like, he compared. We don't realize now that because we are not on that level. Yes, we can't compare ourselves to Dhruva Maharaj. We are not on that level. But just see, he was completely regretting. So Maitreya is asking why he has to regret. Like, he had to regret. So within 6 months, he achieved something which is impossible. Why he is regretting? So this is what, I could have directly asked for Prema Bhakti directly. Easier. I just, yeah. So this is what happens when we do devotion. Everything else will be destroyed. Anything else from there. So he was telling that these demigods, they control our senses, our mind. So they tricked me. Because of them, then I was misguided, and I had this intention. And he was very sorry that he had those intentions. And now he's not revengeful at all. He was telling, out of ignorance only, I was thinking my stepmother and my stepbrother to be my enemies. So this is the realization he had, Dhruva Maharaj. And we will have to summarize, not reading some of the sections, Hare Krishna, those who are on Zoom. Then this news spread everywhere that Dhruva had the vision or the audience of the Lord, and Uttanapada, his father, came to know this. And immediately Uttanapada, king, gave some gifts to the messenger, and then they prepared to, they went out to receive him. Mother Suniti and as well as stepmother, stepbrother, they all sat in one palanquin. And the king, along with his subjects, with great pompous, went out to receive him. And so Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw his father, he offered his obeisances to his father and offered obeisances to mothers, both mothers, Suruchi as well. No ill intention against Suruchi. He offered obeisances. And Suruchi, she blessed. May you live long. And because you may wonder why she is behaving like that now, because he became a great devotee. When you are a devotee, naturally you attract the mercy of everyone. Everybody will be automatically friendly when you become a devotee of the Lord. And then Mother Surichi, she embraced Dhruva, and she was just pouring tears like anything. And with motherly affection, she was getting, our like milk was flowing from our breast. With the tears and the breast, the milk, she actually bathed Dhruva directly. This is like Abhishek, performing Abhishek. And so after some time, King Uttanapada, he left for forest. In those days, kings, they were not ruling until their last breath. So if you see Bharat Maharaj's story also, after 50 years, at the age of 50, they leave everything and they go to the forest. They are called Rajarshi, saintly kings. So Uttanapada, king, went to forest to meditate on the Lord. Then Dhruva was enthroned. Yes. So, and in this story, we can see that the great character of Suniti. Because of Suniti, Dhruva got the audience of the Lord, and he became a great devotee. He was fully transformed, and his stepmother got transformed, stepbrother got transformed, and also king was also transformed. Initially, he was very partial to his younger wife Suruchi, but later on he never showed that partiality. He was equal. So the real hero of this story is actually Suniti. And that's how the story, second chapter ends. And in the next week, we will do the third chapter. Let me see. Yeah, so also for our lesson for us is that from Uttanapada, we should also retire at some point, sooner rather than later. Yes, people, when we ask, what do you do? People after retirement, they get bored because they don't have any activity. After retirement, also people work because they don't have engagement. So now you see, like Rajkumar Govinda engages his full family members. They will clean all the temple, right from the top to the bottom. So much engagement. So we should have that goal. In the Vedic system, this was always given, that we should say, like I've spoken to some devotees. They told me that this figure or this age. So whichever comes first, one should retire. Anand Vrindavan Prabhu from ISKCON Chowpatty, he always tells, this figure or this age. Luckily, his figure came first. So he retired early. Retiring early when you get a lot of money is not easy. Not easy. When you're not getting money, sometimes, okay, it's okay. But if you're successful, so successful in your business and millions are coming, and still you retire, is not true. But Lord gives the intelligence, right intelligence, when we worship. Only thing is we need that sincerity. Sincerity, yes, we are not perfect. We should tell the Lord we are not perfect. That's it. We should act according to our level. That means sincere. We should be sincere in our endeavor. So that's another lesson for us from Uttanapada, that we should also retire, means dedicate, not simply retire, but engage fully in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, there is one question. Why did demigods trick the mind of Dhruva? So that's how Dhruva thought anyway, because they control the parts of various senses of each individuals. Yeah, so that's how Dhruva thought. I'm not really sure, but anyway, he got the benefit. He's enjoying the benefit here. He's ruling the kingdom here for 36,000 years, and during his stay here on the earth also, Lord said that your senses will always be perfect. You never become old, but after that you will come to my planet. So that's how Lord Vishnu gave him benedictions. Yes, Yashwant Prabhu, you had a question? It's clear. Okay. Yes. So that's a good question. I really don't know. We don't know where that information is given. Yeah. Yes. Why did he suffer? So why? So he must have had, but they see at the end result, and we have to take the end result. What is the end result in this life for Dhruva? End result is Lord Vishnu. End result is the planet of Dhruva planet. So he may suffer. Suffering, no one is free from suffering in this world, but he turned that suffering into opportunity. That is the greatness, that is the intelligence. We will also suffer in this world. Devotees say that time when he suffered, he was not a devotee, right? But devotees, even the sufferings come, they never treat them as sufferings. Say, for example, Kunti Maharani says, give me more miseries, give me more miseries. She doesn't feel the misery. Many devotees, they don't feel the misery. But Dhruva at that time was not a pure devotee. So he had a little bit of pain, but by good association of his mother, and as well as Narad. You need the saintly person. Ultimately, in our life, if we want to become perfect, we need the association of saintly people. If we desire to worship the Lord, saintly people will come to us automatically. In this case, Narada went. So yeah, so he had little pain. That's okay. So, but he turned that pain into wonderful opportunity. Even Suniti also, he turned that challenge into a wonderful opportunity. Later on, both Dhruva and his mother, we will see in the next chapter. So at the end of Dhruva's life, golden airplane came from the Vaikunta, and Nanda, Sunanda, the assistants of the Lord, came, and Dhruva boarded that airplane. And after boarding that airplane, then he realized, that time he was in Badrikashram. He realized, where is my mother? Let me jump off the airplane. Then knowing the heart of Dhruva, Nanda and Sunanda said, look at there. Your mother is already going in a different airplane. So she got the benefit as well. Prabhupada writes a beautiful commentary on this. I might not be able to go back to Godhead, but one of my disciples, because of one of my disciples, I may go back to Godhead. That's his humility. So when we preach also, we may not go back to Godhead, but some others may go back to Godhead, but they will think of us, and then we will also get the benefit. Wonderful pastime. You have to sit and read. So if you read each and every purport, I'm working on the timeline, 8 o'clock I finish this. So let me see. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Yashwant Prabhu here. Yes.
So in this case,
Who gave
he
forgiveness?
begged for forgiveness, like Lord
Hmm.
said that you have to beg forgiveness, ask for forgiveness from my devotees,
Hmm.
then only
Hmm.
I cannot do anything with the.
Hmm.
So in this case, like Suruchi and like
Uttama.
they were like they met death.
Hmm.
So in their case, like afterwards, they were also transformed. So did they ask for forgiveness? And because of that, like this situation of their death, and could it have been avoided? I don't know about
I
the
mean,
past time.
can we avoid death? Can anyone avoid death?
No.
I mean, so end of the story, we all have to give up our body. They were transformed, both Uttama and Suruchi. Definitely, she was then, she gave her blessings to Dhruva. So, but this was Lord's intention. Can we understand everything, why that happened? One thing we can know definitely, they must have attained very higher destination. Because Dhruva was you will see in the next chapter how much loving he was towards his brother. He killed so many yakshas because of his brother. Because they killed his brother, Uttama, then he went and he fought and he killed so many yakshas. So he was so loving towards his brother. So because they were loved by Dhruva, so definitely they will attain higher destination. So that nobody can. Yeah, but in case of Durvasa Muni, that's a different story. He was a sage, and so he was also running and begging forgiveness, and he repented. So Lord treated him that way. But the destination, I'm sure I was listening to other devotee, and he also mentioned, other acharyas also mentioned that they will, they must have attained higher destination. Any questions from anyone on Zoom? If not, then we will end the session. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari. Kartik Mas Maha Mahotsam ki jai. Guru Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone. Krishna willing, we shall see you all next week.
Thank you for being here, Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.